Hey, you guys, welcome to this episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. So today we're going to talk about something that can be kind of confusing and kind of mysterious, the Federal Reserve. Yep, otherwise known as the Fed. Gosh, you've heard the word the Fed, the Fed, the Fed. I feel like so much recently because it's connected to topics like inflation and recession, all of that. So, man, it has been said, and it's so funny because everyone's like the Fed and people have ideas of what it is, or they have no idea what it is. So it's like this mysterious thing. And we're going to talk about it all and what it has to do with you and what it has to do with our economy. So we're going to break it down. First and foremost, what is the Fed? So the Federal Reserve is the U.S. central bank. So after a series of financial panics that really shook up the economy in the 1800s, the Fed was founded by an act of Congress in 1913 to make sure that the American banking system was more stable. Their role was basically to oversee the economy, regulate banks, and control the amount of money that goes in and out of our system. So the Fed sets the federal funds rate, which is the rate that banks charge each other for short-term loans. The federal funds rate then influences the interest rates on other loans, like mortgages, credit cards, student loans, all of that. So why would the Fed make changes in rates? Well, typically the Fed raises interest rates when inflation is high, so it really can hurt the stock market, company earnings, people freak out and they pull their money in. That's one thing. But then they'll lower rates if the economy is sluggish and they need a boost, because the lower rates for people to borrow money make it easier to spend and get the economy going. But the catch is lower rates could lead to higher inflation, aka people holding onto cash instead of spending it. So the Fed likes to keep inflation about the 2% mark, or right around there. But when inflation goes up, then they raise the federal interest rate to control it and slow it down, because again, people will buy less stuff out there spending money when interest rates are high because they're not going to borrow as much money. And that's why the Fed has steadily been raising interest rates lately. You'll see it. They're like, So what does that mean for your money? Well, hear me say that rising Fed interest rates impact your money. So whether it's your saving, it's your spending, it's paying off debt, it's your budget, you're going to feel the rising interest rates. So if you have credit cards, for instance, and the rates are rising, that means that you're going to have higher interest rates, which means you're going to be paying more money over a long period of time. And that's one reason I always tell people, just cut up your credit cards. Just get rid of them. Be done with it. It also means that if you have a fixed rate mortgage, then you're pretty safe. So if the interest rates rise, you're in a fixed rate. So you are where you were when you got your mortgage, at a fixed rate. But if you have an adjustable rate or a HELOC, then again, you have a risk of your mortgage rates going up as the Federal Reserve interest rates raise their rates. And then when it comes to your investments, people tend to invest less or even cash out their investments when interest rates rise. And this can cause the stock market to dip, which is a great chance for long-term investors actually to invest when prices are low. So if you're on baby step 4 and investing 15% of your income, don't stop investing when the market is down. Don't pull your money out, just ride it out. And last but not least, if you have a savings account, the rising interest rates are actually a good thing, because you're going to see a bump of your savings with your rate of return. You're going to get more money in that way. And again, this is for traditional savings accounts, money market accounts, and CDs. So if you have money in savings, it's actually a good thing. You're going to be making more money on your money, which is awesome. So what is the Fed up to right now? Well, the latest update is that December 14th, 2022, they raised its benchmark interest rates to the highest level since 2007. And this was actually a smaller hike than the other ones we've seen over the past year. But officials said that they expect to keep rates higher in the coming year with no reductions until 2024. So we will see what happens. And some investors are worried that it will be impossible for the Fed to get inflation under control without triggering a recession, and stock prices continue to go down, all of it. And what's crazy is the market did go down, as you watched on the Wednesday after the Fed's announcement about raising interest rates. So it's all connected, and it's crazy. It's wild, but it does. It affects you and I and our money when it comes to investing and saving. So what should you and I do about rising interest rates? Well, remember, the Fed we can't control them, right? They're not going to change. They're going to continue to do what they've been doing. But what can change is you. Yes. This is back to one of those things when we talk about control what you can control. And so even though they're trying to fix this problem with math and raising interest rates so people don't borrow money, don't spend money to get supply and demand under control right now, I mean, it's a mess. It's crazy. But what can you control? You can't control the Fed. I can't control the Fed. But we can control where our money is today and what we're going to do about it tomorrow. So if you have debt, get out of debt. Student loans, credit cards, all of it. Get out of debt by paying off your smallest debt first and then going up to the next smallest and the next. So that's called the debt snowball method. That's what I always teach people, the best way to get out of debt. So don't sit there and try to fool with I'll move this card balance here and all this and trying to move. And as the interest rates, rise with the Fed, when they raise rates, it's oh my gosh, it's insane. Just get out of debt. That's very helpful. And then when you have your emergency funds, you actually end up taking advantage of what's going on because you're going to see a slight boost because interest rates are rising. So you're going to be making more money off your savings. Now, again, you're not making crazy money in a CD or money market or, a traditional savings account, but every bit helps, right? We're not going to be mad at it. So that's a great thing. Also, you want to budget to make sure that you're in control of your spending and that you know what's going on and not to panic. I mean, so much emotion can go in. Again, when the Fed raises their rates, that trickles down other things. You watch the news, you see people's Facebook posts, friends are talking, and it's just fear, scary, oh my gosh. But remember, control what you can control. So being out of debt is key. Having an emergency fund in place is key. Having margin in your budget where you can do that, whether it's cutting things or adding income, is key. If you do have investments, even though things have gone down because people are freaking out, stay in the market. Don't freak out and pull your money out. Continue to be there. And we got to ride this thing out. So much of this, you guys, is a long-term perspective. And that's what you have to have with your money. You make really bad financial decisions when you're looking a week out, a month out. And we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know really what's going to happen in the future. But I believe we've been through this before. You can look back on recessions and high inflation, all of it. It's not fun. We're in the middle of it. So I'm not saying it's great. But I just believe in the American economy enough to believe that we're going to come out of this. I really do. And so you're going to continue to see things normalize and stabilize. But it's going to take some time. So be patient. All right, share this video with a friend who might be curious about the Fed. If you've been talking to your friends about it, I don't know what kind of friends you have. I don't really talk to my friends a lot about the Fed. Sometimes they're brought up, but not always. So if you do have a friend though, or someone, you're I want them to know about this, make sure to send them this video. And remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.